Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are attempting to chart a course through a truly monumental set of sources.
It's a huge world.
It is. It's built on just so much dramatic conflict, philosophical debates, powerful human stories.
For sure.
Our mission today is to try and pull out the core insights on some of literature's biggest questions about law, conscience, and, the possibility of redemption.
It's a universal struggle, yeah. But I think we can navigate it by focusing on, say, three essential moral anchors.
Okay.
You've got the standard of radical generosity set by Bishop Muriel, then the absolute rigidity of the law in Javert, and finally the agonizing path toward grace walked by Jean Valjean.
Right.
These three, they really define the whole clash between, let's call it spiritual love, and the system of human authority.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with that almost dizzyingly high benchmark, Bishop Muriel. He kind of introduces the central argument of the entire text right away, doesn't he?
He really does. I mean, his first move is it's profound. He recognized that his 60-room mansion was, an ethical obscenity when people were suffering right next door.
It's an incredible gesture.
And his response wasn't just to donate money. He engaged in an active institutional trade.
He swapped the buildings.
He swapped them. He moved himself into the cramped hospital so that 26 needy patients could be housed in his mansion. That's giving up comfort for a real, concrete social good.
And his radicalism, it wasn't just about resources. He actively celebrated stories of, community altruism.
Yes, he loved those stories. Like the Embrun villagers who, when a neighbor was sick, just gave up their entire Sunday to harvest his grain. Men, women, children, all working together.
It shows a kindness that exists outside of any formal laws, right?
Exactly. Or, that custom you saw among the mountain men of Devilny.
Yeah.
The sons would inherit everything, but then they just turn around and give it to their sisters.
And strike out on their own.
Yeah, to earn their own fortunes. They put the stability of their sisters ahead of their own comfort. It's just a different way of seeing the world.
And his spiritual conviction, it seems to just transcend any kind of earthly justice completely.
Oh, completely. When he went with that convict to the scaffold, he wasn't just there to pray. He made this powerful declaration, something like, God gives life to what the Son of Man kills.
Wow.
It's a vision of justice that's defined by, infinite mercy.
And his wisdom was so subtle, too. I love that anecdote where he just listens.
Oh, with the prosecutor.
Yes. While the whole salon is praising this guy for tricking a woman into confessing by, exploiting her jealousy, Muriel just listens. He says nothing.
And that silence is louder than any condemnation, isn't it?
It really is. It sets the stage for the big one, the stolen silver. But it's interesting, the sources also bring up another act of restitution, the ceremonial vestments.
Right, from the Embrun church.
Yeah.
The ones stolen by Cosette.
And they're just returned.
Anonymously. With a note that just says, gift from Cosette to Bishop Bienvenu. The bishop's generosity, it creates this circle of grace that even pulls in other criminals.
Which is such a violent contrast to the two poles of order we see next. Jean Valjean is Bay Madeleine and Javert. Madeleine is he's justice-driven by results and redemption.
Exactly. His whole rise was built on the black bead industry. But here's where it gets really interesting. His success wasn't just for him. He poured his wealth back into Montreuil-sur-Mer.
He set up a retirement fund.
An aid fund, a rest home for the elderly, even a free pharmacy.
And the proof of this is it's staggering. According to the sources, within 7 years, the local tax collection expenses dropped by 3/4.
75%.
A 75% reduction.
That is the metric of his success. Ethical management created so much prosperity that collecting taxes became easy. His system, it worked.
So if his system was so successful, how could he still be under threat? Is the idea that the state just refuses to believe redemption is possible?
Absolutely. That is the entire conflict. Because you have to contrast Valjean's success with Javert, this unrelenting force of the law.
The text describes him almost like an animal.
Like a dog born in a wolf's litter. Pure, rigid, unmixed dogma. He sees the world in only two colors, black and red. Criminal and lawful.
And he was always watching Madeleine, convinced he was a fugitive, right?
Constantly. Javert needs the world to fit into his neat little black book of regulations.
Which makes Valjean's confession at the Champmathieu trial just so critical. It's this moment of pure, agonizing conscience.
He sacrifices his entire earned life for an innocent man. And he proves who he is, not with an argument, but with forensic evidence, his own body.
He has to reveal the brands.
Yes. He makes the man Cochepaille show the brand that marked the exact date of the emperor's return, March 1st, 1815. He uses the state's own history of punishment to prove he's the man the state wants to destroy.
And in doing that, he forces the legal system to confront the human being it tried to reduce to just a number. So, moving from these moral poles down to the social abyss below, the system's rigidity, it just crushes the most vulnerable, which, sets the stage for revolution.
And there's no better example than Fantine.
Her tragedy, she starts as this charming, happy young woman, and her downfall begins with such a frivolous betrayal.
Her lover, Tholomyès, this dandy who defines fashion, is wearing 3 vests. He just abandons her after a silly trip to St. Cloud.
Her life just spirals. She gets fired from Valjean's factory, and the detail the sources give for her final illness is just gut-wrenching.
A handful of snow.
A handful of snow lands on her back, and that's the trigger. A moment of total indifference from the world is what finally kills her.
And that's the ecosystem of suffering that breeds rebellion. You see it with the Thénardiers, too, the ultimate parasite.
When they abandon their 2 youngest boys, the note with their address just blows away in the wind.
It's a tragedy that's almost invisible, just swallowed by the indifference of Paris.
But out of that street suffering, you get Gavroche. He's the cynical survivor, but he has this innate radical charity.
He really does. When the little boy asks about the blessed boxwood from church, Gavroche just dismisses it as nonsense, a lie.
But then moments later,
he's the one who buys a cheap loaf of black bread 5 centimes and shares it with them.
Yeah.
He is Bishop Myriel's grace, just stripped of all the theology.
And all of this social suffering creates the tinder for the 1832 uprising.
Driven by these young idealists.
Like Maurice Pontmercy, his journey starts with that huge political split from his grandfather.
Mr. Gillenormand, a complete reactionary who hated the revolution.
And when Maurice confronts him about his father's politics, the old man just erupts, "Get out."
A total break. He sacrifices family security for his conscience.
And that leads him to the ABC Friends, which is this fascinating mix of different revolutionary ideas.
It is. You have Enjolras on one side, the beautiful, terrifying priest of the ideal.
He's the pure revolutionary.
Absolutely. Militant, absolute. And then balancing him is Combeferre, who is the more humane, intellectual voice. He wants change, but his vision was that the good must be innocent.
He favored progress over violent upheaval.
Right, and this group was even intellectual enough to tolerate the cynic Grantaire with his drunken toast to logic.
They even make this key philosophical distinction between different kinds of uprising, right?
They do. They draw a line between rebellion, which is based on an abstract right, a cause, and insurrection, which is often based on, the stomach, on immediate need, but is more prone to violence.
And their final stand happens in such a weirdly ordinary place, the Corinthian.
Run by the grumpy Hucheloup Baba, with that funny poem on the ceiling about his wife's nose. The humor just evaporates once the fighting starts.
And you see Enjolras' revolutionary purity right away when he executes the spy, the Kapuk.
It's a ruthless, disciplined act. But what's key is that Enjolras recognizes the moral cost. He vows to punish himself later. It captures the awful price of holding on to a pure ideal in a bloody reality.
Then, when it's clear they've lost, you see Combefaire's compassion emerge.
He tells the men to think of their mothers and children, and he offers them the uniforms of the 4 dead guards as a way out.
An act of mercy.
A necessary mercy that overrides the dogma of fighting to the last man.
Which brings us all the way back to the central moral dilemma and Javert's total collapse.
It's an agonizing collapse. His entire life was built on this absolute, unyielding order.
And Valjean showing him mercy just shatters it.
Completely. He cannot reconcile this act of transcendent goodness with his lifelong belief that Valjean is just a criminal. His foundation turns to water. The sources have that incredible line, stone turning into doubt.
He realizes that the law and the spirit can't coexist. If Valjean can be good, then Javert's life, dedicated to hunting him, was wrong.
And since Javert is the law, then the law itself is flawed. He can't live in that universe.
And while Javert is facing this moral abyss, the Thénardiers are just still scheming.
They persist. Thénardier has this elaborate escape from prison with all these complex plans that mostly fail.
And his final move is to try and blackmail Marius.
Right, who's now married to Cosette. He shows up calling himself Baron and spins some ridiculous story about a gold mine in Panama.
And Marius just pays him.
He pays him 500 francs just to be done with him. And Thénardier, of course, immediately uses that money to go to America and become a slave trader. It's a dark acknowledgement that vice, when you fund it, just gets worse.
And for Jean Valjean, after all of that, that heroic, complicated life, it ends in quiet anonymity.
A lonely, unnamed grave in Père Lachaise Cemetery, hidden by weeds and moss.
A life of extraordinary struggle and virtue, just
Right.
gone without any big monument.
And that journey from the bishop's visible goodness to Valjean's quiet, unmarked grave, that's really the core thesis of the sources. It suggests that true moral progress isn't found in big, visible changes.
Like the Paris sewer system.
Exactly like the sewer system, which the sources detail as this huge feat of modern rational engineering. It's clean, it's ordered.
That's a fascinating analogy, because the system is clean and ordered, but Valjean's greatest act of redemption,
Saving Marius.
it happens in the filth of the old, forgotten sewers, not in the clean, modern tunnels.
Exactly. The text is telling us that true redemption, true virtue, exists outside the system of perfect law. It's found in the agonizing, inevitable, personal struggle to choose compassion over rigid dogma.
So the evidence isn't in the clean pipes of Paris.
No. It's where history and human remains collect. And it's in the quiet, weedy simplicity of Valjean's unmarked grave.
That raises a really important provocative question for you, the listener, to consider. If Javert's rigid devotion to the law was what ultimately destroyed him, what personal, unyielding dogma do you hold on to that might be preventing an act of true generosity in your own life?
Something to think about.
Something to mull over as you exit this deep dive. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.